Assalamu alaikum and a very good morning, or it's almost afternoon now to everybody. It's a great pleasure for me to be here today and to listen to all the discussions that have happened. But I really want to start by thanking the Center for Governance Studies for inviting me to be guest of honor for this national dialogue. And I think it is it's an extremely important topic at an extremely important moment in the life and the journey of Bangladesh. Two reasons. One, Bangladesh, all the descriptions have been made, so I don't want to go back. But we are kind of getting to a key moment, which is the 50th anniversary of independence of this country. 50 years is not a short time in one way, but it is a short time in another way. And what Bangladesh has been able to accomplish during this time is phenomenal, is remarkable, impressive. But at the same time, it is also a key moment because that journey is being made to move from the least developed country column to the developed country column. And plus, the country has the ambition and aspires to become an upper middle income country by 2031 and a fully developed country by 2041. That is, this is the dream this is a country that's been dreaming and achieving its dreams as it goes. So that dream has been set, the goal has been set, and I think this discussion today is really the how to. It's no longer the what, because the what has been set, but it's the how do you get from where we are to where the country wants to go. And I think, again, as I said, the discussions, the points that have been made around the table have ticked all the boxes, starting with the keynote address that was made by Dr. Mamoon, setting the stage for the discussion. And I, just sitting here and listening to everybody speak, all the issues, the key areas that you raised, and those questions that you put on the board, at the end of your presentation, in one way or the other, has been responded to in the discussions. So what I would like to do actually now is to just kind of pick up three key messages that I hear coming out of this. And again, coming from the World Bank, we've been here for the past 50 years as well. So we'll be celebrating 50 years of independence. Of course, during these 50 years, we've had our successes, our failures, and everything. But the important part is we have been part of this successful journey that Bangladesh has had. So the first key message that comes out of all of this is the recognition of the challenges and the opportunities that LDC graduation brings to Bangladesh. The challenges, it will graduate in 2026, and there's a transition period to 2029, but we've talked about the losses, what they will lose, the preferential market access, the differential treatment benefits, and so on and so forth. But there are other challenges that are really purely internal. There are, and panel members have talked about it. They've talked about challenges of skills, the skill gap. They've talked about, the weak institutions. We've talked about health issues, education issues, and so on. These are things that are very, very internal and things that we can have control over. And so recognizing this challenges and doing something to address them would help the country achieve its objectives. But on the flip side, there have been opportunities that this graduation brings to the country. It does bring the greatest opportunity of introducing reforms that will really accelerate the achievement of the goal. A lot has been happening. There have been reforms, but the low-hanging fruit reforms are all done. Right now, we need to move to the second generation reforms, which will lift the country and shift its gear towards where it wants to go. So those reforms are extremely, extremely important to take very seriously and to implement. And like what somebody said, it's not a plan. A plan is a piece of paper. You need to translate that plan and those ideas into action, an action that actually touches everybody in the society. It has to be green, it has to be resilient, it has to be inclusive. Everybody, to the last person in the villages, in the Upuzilas, should be able to feel economic growth. 7% economic growth, what does that mean? I was in Mymensingh over the weekend, and I talked to a group of women who are doing fish farming and so on, and they told their stories of what they have gone through, how they've benefited from some projects that have given them access to credit, and the phenomenal things that they do. A woman started with, and she was literally crying when she was telling the story. They had no food to eat, they had nothing, but now she was able to have 20,000 taka. She bought a cow, then she sold the cow for 50,000, and then she was able to take credit again for 50,000, and now she's 200,000. She's moved from 0 to 22 cows that she owns. That is the example of what development is, because you see it in the lives of people. So basically what I'm saying is that we need to have those opportunities, those reforms that actually have that effect that reaches down to everybody. My second message relates to building export competitiveness. And I think Dr. Abu Yusuf eloquently talked about the need for export competitiveness. We know that Bangladesh has succeeded in becoming the world's second exporter of ready-made garments. And there've been a lot of policies that have, the first time I came to this country was in 2007. The Bangladesh that was then is so different from the Bangladesh that was now. Go backwards. When this country became independent in 1971, I remember in those days I was still a student doing my master's and PhD. It was one of the three poorest countries I remember, because I still read it in my thesis till today. Bangladesh, Ethiopia, and Central African Republic. See where Bangladesh is today. See where Ethiopia is today. And see where Central African Republic are. We should be very proud for what we have done. But it's because of the reforms that actually started with the grassroots, with the communities, with the cooperatives, planting rice and so on and so forth. And now this is a country that is running on rice production, ready-made garments, remittances. And it's a phenomenal story to tell. But what got us here is not going to get us there. You all know Goldsmith's book on how to really move to the next agenda. And I think one key pillar would be building export competitiveness. We've talked about it, all the panelists have said it, but I think we need really to gear up to that. And one of the areas that will help kind of move the agenda would be tariff rationalization. Right now, we are in a situation where tariffs doubled from 14.8% to 30%, 14.8% up to 30% in FY20. But this makes it very difficult for people to move away from the domestic market. Because right now we are very concentrated in the domestic market. If we want to become a developed country, we definitely need to move into the bigger pool where the others are swimming. And everybody around the table has talked about this. So I'm just kind of capture what are the ingredients that would be important to move this. Another one, and again, I'll end up with what we are doing in the World Bank to support this agenda. But the other aspect is trade facilitation. And we need to be very, very agile in facilitating trade. Right now, I think there is a policy to have the national single window, which will try and reduce right now as we speak, there is an estimate that the processing time for import is about 360 hours. 360 hours is a long time. We need to have one single window where you go here, you go there, you reduce it to a very short time. Prior to coming to Bangladesh, I was the country director for Georgia, Armenia, and Azerbaijan. And I can tell you, Georgia moved with the ease in its ability to do business like this. When I was there, it was 26, then it moved on to 16, then it moved on to 6. Why is that? They have one single stop shop where you can have your passport in a day. From when you bring your birth certificate, you bring your thing, it just moves in there like that, and you accelerate. When you accelerate the processes, then you get people moving. It takes you a few hours to create a business. It takes you a few hours. You don't even need days to do this. And that agility of the institutions is one of the things that would actually propel it. We have all seen it. We just did a systematic country diagnostic. A key issue is the weaknesses of the institutions and the systems. It takes so long to process documents. It takes so long to do this. If we can just sit up, and trust me, Bangladesh is very capable. If there's one country I believe in, it is this one, about its ability to do, if it is willing to do. So, trade facilitation is an extremely important part. And my third message is about the private sector. Again, the discussion has gone on about the need for us to involve the private sector in LDC graduation. We cannot rely on a local private, a private sector is booming here. I see the Jamuna group, I see, look at Gulshan. It's like, I was walking the other day and I took a couple of pictures and I sent them to my sons and they said, one of them called the brother and said, is Mom in New York? I said, no, I'm in Gulshan. Because the infrastructure, if you just look at Gulshan Avenue, you will never believe this is. And somebody just didn't say anything. You could say it's in New York. You could say it's anywhere. But can we say that in the streets in Rangpur? Can we say that in Cox's Bazar? Can we say that in Khulna? Can we say that in Mymensingh? That's the whole point about getting that level of development to go. And the public sector cannot do it. The private sector, it's important that the role of the private sector is key. Investors, foreign direct investments, you've all said it. I'm not saying anything that is new because I'm just capturing what you have said as the panelists. You've talked about the role of private sector investors, foreign direct investment, the economic zones. I've visited quite a few. The export economic zones are good, but the issue there is that it is so concentrated on ready-made garments. Can we diversify and do that in other sectors? One good other sector is leather, is shoes. We were in Ashuganj the other day, and I saw these little small and medium-sized enterprises doing shoes, beautiful shoes. Problem is I didn't have my size. I would have bought one. I would have bought a couple. But then those shoes are really beautiful. Can we increase the export of leather, shoes, other things to the level of ready-made garments? So we're second in the world, first in the world, and so on and so forth. So I think that the role of the private sector and foreign direct investments is extremely key to bring about the changes that the government aspires, the people of Bangladesh aspire to have, and it is possible. And I would really like to close by talking about the role of the World Bank. The World Bank has been here for 50 years, and we are very, very proud of the achievements that we have had together. Yesterday, 2 days ago, in Ashuganj, we visited one of the steel silos. The silos that are actually, I'm sure if you move around the country, we have 8 of them that we are constructing. We move around the country to see that this country is a very vulnerable country to climate change, to floods and so on. But we should be able to have food security. We should have food safety and enough production that will stand to build the resilience that we need. So these silos, it was just amazing to see 30 silos in Ashuganj, and we went to Madhupur, and another 31 there, each of them containing 3,500 tons of rice that they can preserve. And this can be kept for 3 years without changing the value. Why am I referring to this? I'm referring to this because in 1972, the first president of the World Bank, one of the presidents of the World Bank, McNamara, was here to inaugurate a silo, a food silo. In 1972, it was a small food silo. Now we are talking of steel silos, big, thousands of. It shows you the journey. It shows you the development journey that we have, and it shows you that the preparedness for the future. So I think we have been part of you. We have been part of this. There have been ups and downs. I don't refuse, because in any life, in any family, in any marriage, in anything, there will be difficult times and there will be good times. But let's look at the good times and let's build this country. Let's move the country forward, building on our strengths rather than our weaknesses. So with this, I would like to stop here and hand over the microphone back to the chair.